All right, now we're continuing our series of interviews with local filmmaking talent presently being showcased at the Cape Town International Film and Market Festival. Now, joining us is storied and globally praised international Emmy winner and documentarian Riyad Desai. Now, once more, he's refused to pull punches to thoroughly flesh out social narratives past our noses. And his latest, Everything Must Fall, unflinchingly interrogates the genesis and the journey of the Feast Must Fall movement and its struggle for a more equal society. Riyad, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Very, very fascinated by this story, as I'm sure not just South Africans, but people across the world are. And I guess at the height of it all, when we saw it playing out on social media, there were so many different dimensions and facets involved. There was the state, there was the universities, the students, the student bodies, media that was covering it. So when it came to you taking on the story, where do you even begin? From whose perspective do you tell it? How do you tackle that?
It was very daunting because it was such a rich movement and it blossomed so many things. We always thought we could do looking at the material, that this is a 6-part series. Yeah. But of course we were contracted and we wanted to do a one-off feature-length documentary, and that is what we did. And really, it's from the point of view of the students. Yeah. So we look at the blossoming of this movement. Where is the richness, the politics, the beauty? And what happens to this movement over the course of 2016 when the state come in with a very heavy hand? What happens to the characters who are leading this movement at this one university, and that includes the Vice-Chancellor himself, Adam Abib, who you can see on your screens now. Yeah, and we're looking at some of the footage as well, different scenes from different perspectives. So from a technical point of view, it must have been quite challenging deciding what material to use, from people running around with cell phones and everyone being able to record from every given angle. How did you take on this project from a technical point of view? Well, firstly, our primary audience are the students, people who are just coming into university now, so they understand what went before them, and those students that were involved. So we wanted to use that medium, as much social media as we could. So we were using Facebook, we were using Instagram, we were using Twitter. Yeah. So you see quite a bit of that in the film because that tells the story. That was the means of communication. Yeah. The key thing was that the great thing about documentary these days is so much is filmed. You can get so much coverage of any one given story. Yeah. The art is how you bring it together so it feels like one whole, a single film. Yeah. And speaking of one whole, let's talk about the previous films that you produced in the Miners Massacre in Marikana with Miners Shot Down and A Giant Is Falling. Does this form part of a trilogy? I believe it does. And this is the last. Do you see an overarching theme? There's a last part of the trilogy. 2012 with Marikana showed us that this government was willing to step over a line which people thought it would never do. And that saw the beginnings of the cracks in South African society, the end of the ANC's monolithic hold over the country. Jacob Zuma's reign, the giant is falling, the ANC is falling, showed us how this started unravelling under the rule of Jacob Zuma. And we saw the emergence of the EFF, we saw the emergence of corruption in Int'l, we saw the Guptas, and we saw serious opposition emerging. Everything Must Fall is really about the birth of a new movement. It's about the generational conflict, the whole generation turning up and saying, actually, we have very little faith in our elders. Yeah. We have very little faith in the generation that are ruling us. It's actually our turn now. As a documentarian filmmaker, what is it that you believe a story like this should do? In fact, what do you want people to gain after watching Everything Must Fall? I want people to get the excitement and the inspiration that triggered in whole sectors of the population that thought that these students, what they were doing and unifying across political lines to forward the demand, a very political demand for free education, against the user pay model, that we must pay for everything we consume, whether it's education, whether it's health, whether it's TV. We're seeing an increasing privatization of our society. This was a move against that, and it birthed some wonderful ideas. And it's that we need to look forward to if we're really going to see any real fundamental social change in South Africa.
Riyad Desai, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Everything Must Fall will be screening at the Cape Town International Film Market and Festival on the 13th and the 15th of October. South Africans can't afford to miss this illuminating and challenging documentary. And if you'd like to find out more about it, go and visit everythingmustfall.co.za to find out what else is also on exhibit at the festival. You can click, of course, on filmfestival.capetown and check them out over there. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.